Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I can tell you firsthand that Reiki can move your life forward, make you feel better, give you clarity, just an overall sense of well-being. I can tell you, I never believed it. I've heard of it, and then I experienced Reiki, and that was before I met her. Now, she takes it even layers deeper with something called New Earth Reiki, and we're going to learn about that today and so much more. She's a Reiki master, practitioner, teacher, and helps so many people feel better. Purnima Chaudhari is with us. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Steve. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. And
Yeah.
there are different types of Reiki. I couldn't tell you the titles or the names of them. Um, can we look at a few of the more popular ones, if you will, and then get us into what you've come up with in New Earth Reiki?
hmm So, the Reiki we practice now is based on the foundational teachings of Usui Sensei, and it's known as Usui Reiki. But then many different masters have added things, and based on the foundational teachings, they've added new energies or new practices. Like there's Kundalini Reiki, there's Lightarian Reiki, there's so many different kinds of Reiki. But what I'm practicing right now is what I shared last time, Holy Fire. And so the Holy Fire is the base energy, and within that spectrum, we have many different kinds of Reiki, uh, and or symbols, I should say. And Reiki is, like I said, nothing but universal life force energy, which we know is abundant and has infinite frequencies. And so right now, I channel 17 symbols or 17 frequencies. And there's one, actually two particular symbols that I channeled, or they came through me during practices, and I founded what we call the New Earth Reiki. Yeah.
So symbols, I didn't
Mhm.
realize that symbols can or are the different frequencies. Do I have that right?
Yes, yes.
Ah,
So, it's like if you were to play the piano, right? You would hit a key, and there's a specific sound that is created by that key. And so, similarly, symbols are keys that unlock specific frequencies of the life force. And so, within the spectrum of Reiki, we work with specific symbols that have, specific qualities and help with specific things. And I mean, it's universal, but there are some things, like, for example, we have the mental emotional symbol. And if we are working with releasing, emotional distress, or help with addictions, or any kind of like relationship problems, then we tap into that particular symbol. We activate that symbol, and then it supports that particular type of healing.
can you give us a look at what that means for you in terms of a symbol? What are you visualizing? How does that work?
So, the symbols are very, they are drawings um,
Okay.
of that particular, like I think everyone knows the Om symbol. It's a very universal symbol, and because of the popularity of yoga, I think everyone knows about the Om
Is is
symbol.
this the ohm symbol? Do I have that right?
No, no,
It's
no.
not. Okay.
It's like the three curves, and then there's a crescent and a dot on top.
Okay.
Um,
Gotcha.
so it's like that. But in Reiki, we have so Usui Sensei brought three symbols in practice. He introduced them, and now over the 100 years, there's been a lot of mana or spirit that has developed with those frequencies, because there are hundreds of thousands of practitioners using those symbols. So we have the power symbol, which is you know um, as the name suggests, it's very powerful to work with. That's a cleansing energy. And then we have the mental emotional symbol, which helps with mental emotional healing. And then we have a distance symbol. So you know that we can connect with anyone, anywhere in the world. Um, and that is the symbol we use to connect with that. It's like our hotline or our telephone line to connect us with that individual. And then, I introduced to one Reiki 2 symbol, which came from the New Earth. And a New Earth is a reality that's a high dimensional reality. I think lots of people are waking up to it. But I was given this during the pandemic when COVID and the lockdowns were happening. This particular, symbol came through me. And then we have the holy fire symbol, the Yusui master symbol. I also am attuned to the Karuna master when we have 8 symbols in that. And very recently, last November, I received another master symbol, and that was for the New Earth Reiki master. So, yeah. And then we have an animal Reiki symbol as well, which we work when we work with animals and humans, because after all, humans are animals too. We
Sure.
forget that, we forget that we're part of that circle, but we use it for them as well. So right now I channel 17 symbols.
Wow. I
Mhm.
want to look deeper into how the symbols help you heal people. And
Mhm.
interestingly, they are truly symbols. When we said that when we've started, a symbol could be whatever you want it to be, your perception of it, but they truly are symbols, number one. Number two, you connect
Mhm.
it to frequency. Um, before we even move on here, every symbol has a frequency, correct?
Correct. It's like the
Okay,
piano key. Every key sounds different.
sure.
You cannot find 2 keys that sound identical. So every symbol has its own frequency, and again, it's within that. I find from my practice of several years, I find that there's a spectrum within each symbol, but they're very different, and when I people have asked me, like, how do you use symbols in your practice, like when you're channeling, how do you use them? And I had this very beautiful explanation which made a lot of sense. So I am a very passive conduit, meaning I'm channeling the energy and I surrender myself. I set my ego aside and I allow the intelligent source energy to move through me to that person who's receiving it. And so when I'm channeling, and I've activated all the symbols in the beginning before I begin my session. So they are there in my field. I've activated them. They've started flowing. But then throughout the session, I am in deep surrender, and intuitively, different frequencies get activated. And it's like I'm playing a song, a Reiki song, if you want to call it that. And it is the most harmonious combination of those energies that will support healing for that individual. So it's very specific. And, I have lots of clients who keep booking sessions with me, like they are repeat clients. And so they say every session is different. Every Reiki song is different. There's nothing, because like with the 7 um you know keys, 7 notes of music, we can create infinite melodies, right?
And
And similar.
I was just thinking too that when somebody hits one of those notes on a piano, to most of us, it's the same note. By and large, it is. But if you really want to get granular, every time you hit that key, it's actually different. It generates harmonics. It's never
Yes.
going to be the same. And I guess that's a lesson in life.
Hmm.
Some of us want to be
Yeah.
perfect. It's never going to be the same or perfect. I think we
Yeah.
forget that, but when you work with somebody with the symbols, with New Earth Reiki, how do
Mhm.
the symbols support the healing? How do you connect it?
So, like all the other symbols, the New Earth Reiki symbols, have very specific energies. The difference is that because of the level of consciousness, they are more refined energies. They are, a higher dimensional energy, if you want to, look at it that way. But they are, they just feel different in my being as I'm channeling it. There's a different level. Like, for example, the Reiki 2 symbol of New Earth, it has that grounding sensation. When it starts flowing through me, I feel very grounded. So I feel very connected deeply with the earth energy. But at the same time, I feel very expansive. So it takes me to a higher level of consciousness while keeping me tethered to the earth. And we know that the new earth, and many listeners might have heard of this term, new earth. I think Eckhart Tolle has written a book on it, and there are many channels who are talking about this. So, it's a reality where it's not like, a spaceship will come and they will say, oh, you're awake, come on aboard, and we are taking you to the new earth. It's not like that. It's a shift in consciousness. So within that life experience, like say you're experiencing sadness, it's an emotion, and you're now vibrating in a lower dimension, like the second heaven, or where, like the lower three dimensions. And now you're able to look at that in a higher perspective and allow it to be transmuted. Now you've raised your consciousness to a higher awareness. And, then we are going into the fifth dimension, or, the fourth or the fifth dimension, where there is this eagle's eye view of things. There's a higher perspective of things, and you realize that whatever happened that's making you sad is, actually something that is for the greater good, and you perceived it in a certain way. So you bring yourself to neutrality. And what I'm experiencing is that these newer energies, like the newer frequency of or upgrade of holy fire and the new earth frequencies, are really supporting that ascension process within us. Like, we're able to see things from a higher perspective. Does that make sense?
Sure. And I think that aligns with what we had mentioned previously, the dimensions from the third to fourth and fifth.
Yeah.
When you're doing Reiki on somebody, I want to get in your head, Purnima.
Yeah.
Somebody's got a challenge, whatever it may be. If you want to give a hypothetical, that's fine. They've got a challenge with something, and you're using one of the symbols to help them, or many. What are you actually doing? Are you seeing the symbol in your mind? How are you applying the use of these symbols, especially with New Earth Reiki, to the person to help them?
So symbols are activated by drawing them. So we draw with our dominant hand, we draw the symbol. But I have reached a point where I don't need to draw them anymore. So for me, chanting them in my head 3 times gets the energy flowing.
Okay,
so
I want to press
example,
pause. I'm getting granular.
Yeah.
I want to learn how you do this. Give me the secret sauce. So when you're chanting it, does each symbol have a chant attached to it? Or let's say it does. Okay.
It does. Yeah.
Steve will shut up.
So, and so we don't share the symbols in general, because they are guarded as a secret, because they are sacred. They are very sacred energies, and we hold a lot of reverence. And it does not benefit people who are not attuned to those energies to know those. Unless you're attuned, then there's no point in even knowing those symbols.
Sure.
So we don't share them out loud. But to give the listeners an example, you go for a yoga class, and your teacher says, let's end with 3 ohms, right? Now, the people in the yoga class start chanting Om. Everyone knows the Om chant, right? So there are a certain vibrations or frequencies generated by that, and you feel good. You feel good in your whole being because Om is a universal chant. So similarly, when I chant particular symbols in my head, I'm not chanting them out loud, I can feel the boost of energy of that particular texture or that particular symbol start flowing through me. And
Wow.
I've activated them in the beginning, but throughout the session, I'm like singing a Reiki song. I'm chanting different symbols, and they start like I get like a boost of that energy as I chant, and
Wow.
then that particular frequency, and I don't put my mind into it, Steve. It happens very, very organically. There's no ego mind involved in this. I am just listening with my heart. I have opened my channel and it's just flowing effortlessly. And what blows my mind always, I mean, I've done thousands of sessions, but every time I'm like in awe of this process because it is such a nuanced process where Reiki will scan that individual. So I may not know anything about that person. That person is a complete stranger. I don't know what is bothering them, if it's physical pain or they have any mental, emotional issues or relationship issues or anything really. Anything can be going on with them.
Mm.
I don't know anything, but when Reiki starts flowing and I don't question what symbols are trying to come through, I just keep chanting them. And then when that person receives, now as I'm channeling, I'm paying attention to my body, my being, and I'm feeling sensations at different chakras in different areas of the body. And from based on that, I'm also sometimes receiving visuals of what's going on. And then after the session, I record a voice note and I send it. And it's always very, you know, uh, aligned to what that person is experiencing in terms of like where that energetic block was located. And so I allow the energy to flow through me, the symbols to flow through me, because they are intelligent source energy. We don't need to guide them or tell them, okay, go here or go to the sacral chakra or go to the throat chakra. I don't need to do any direction. The energy decides, it scans the aura of that individual, and as it is scanning, I can actually feel these bulbs go on where the blocks are, and I can see the energetic blocks and feel them physically. And then I can feel how energy prioritizes uh, one by one. It will first flow to the most blocked area, and then it will prioritize throughout the session until I feel that the Reiki in me and the Reiki in that person is in harmony, is in total balance. And in most sessions, I'm able to reach that point of harmony. And the person will wake up and they will feel harmonious, they will feel grounded, they will feel, happy. And if they might have any aches or pains, they might notice that there's a shift in that. So it's just beautiful how these symbols work.
Wow.
And obviously, higher the level of training, the more symbols you get. So I've done all master levels, and I have all the master symbols that I practice with.
Can you
Yeah.
tell us when somebody comes before you and let's say they say I'm dealing with an issue of anxiety or whatever it might be, do you think in your mind, that would translate to this symbol, that symbol, and it's almost as if you pull them out of your arsenal and you're going to use that? That's my first question. And then on a follow-up, if somebody doesn't tell you what they've got going on, do you already pick up on their energy and figure it out?
Yeah. So, when I start channeling, before I begin my session, I activate all the symbols because I want all the symbols to be present in my field so that I can just invoke them with chant, and that I get that boost of energy. So it happens automatically. I don't have to like I said earlier, I don't have to think about, and again, if that person is sharing that they have anxiety, the root cause of the anxiety can be something that I'm not aware of, right?
Hmm.
So anxiety is a symptom that is caused by something that's going on in their life, or it could be energies that they're holding in their subconscious. I don't know the root cause, but Reiki knows, because it's all knowing source energy. So I allow the symbols to come to me. I don't call any symbols.
Okay.
I allow them to come, and then they flow, and I just see magic happening. Because I don't know the root cause of all these symptoms that we label as anxiety or arthritis or whatever, like we have these labels for different disease or illness, but the root cause is energetic, and Reiki is the best diagnostic tool to find where the root cause is, and it eliminates that root cause. That's how it brings about the healing. And then your second
Question.
the follow-up, yeah, was like, you know i I try to even if someone has a booking note for me, most times there isn't a booking note. People don't share much, but sometimes I will have a booking note where they have said this is what is going on. Maybe they had a surgery, or they lost a job, or whatever, right? So I keep that in mind, but most times I don't know what is going on with them. And so I go in with a clean slate, but then what I receive during the session, what they receive during the session, it's always in alignment with what they need. And I always, encourage my clients to set an intention, but a very open-ended intention for the session, and allow the healing to happen, because Reiki respects free will. So they have to be willing to and in surrender to allow that healing to happen. Yeah.
I guess it goes back to what I heard in the beginning with Reiki, that the energy goes where it needs to go. It
Yeah.
knows what it needs to do. It's
Yes.
I want to thank you,
Mhm.
Purnima, in your detail of the symbols and the attunement. I've never heard it described that way, in such an understanding way. And now I get it. I understand
Mhm.
it. For anybody that doesn't know what attunement means, can we explain that?
Yes, sure. So, attunement is a process where, the Reiki master, according to the old way, the Reiki master would do this process that would bring these energies based on the degree of Reiki. So if it's second degree Reiki, first degree Reiki, second degree Reiki, master Reiki, there are different, I guess, parts of that process that the master does to bring those energies in the chakras, in the energy field of the individual. So then they can become conduits of Reiki. They can channel Reiki. With the new Holy Fire process, this attunement process is done directly by Holy Fire, which is source energy, Christ consciousness, Bhutasta Chaitanya, the universal life force energy that permeates this whole creation. The purest form of that energy basically is what is doing the attunement process. And once a person receives an attunement, it's for life. It's a soul level attunement for the lower degrees of Reiki, like first degree, second degree, and also Usui master level, that is on the soul level. And then we have ignitions or master attunements that are on the spirit level. They're higher levels of activation, which is life altering. You cannot go back to who you were the old way.
Wow.
There is major transformation that happens with these attunements. So attunement is also a path to self-healing. Yeah, anyone who is interested in doing a lot of self-healing, shadow work, inner child healing, any kind of healing for themselves, this is a great way to do it. And I teach, I've taught hundreds of people from
Wow.
all walks of life, but not everyone is practicing Reiki professionally. They do it for themselves, for their family, for their pets, whatever reason. But a lot of self-healing happens in these attunement processes. People are blown away. Some people come out of the attunement process and they say, wow, this was like a plant medicine journey. It is
Wow.
so powerful. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. This is why you are our professional of the year. You really have such a handle on all of this. How do we connect with you if somebody is looking to get Reiki done or even learn? How do we find you?
So my website has, all the links and all the explanation, innerjourneyreiki.com. And people can find me on Instagram. My handle is at Purnima_Chaudhari.
Thank you for today. And again, in my journey, I dug deeper into Reiki 3 years ago and continue to. I've never heard the explanation as you gave today. Now I got it. And I thought I had it. Now I really got it, how this all works and what's going on with the symbols and how I never knew that they were connected to frequency as well. So for all of that, Purnima, thank you so much for today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.